I'm excited to be joined now by Professor Lilac Al-Safadi, President of Saudi Electronic University. Welcome to BbWorld, Professor.
Hi, Phil. I'm delighted, and thank you for having me today.
Of course. Let's get going on these questions. With the sudden halt of face-to-face instruction, why was Saudi Electronic University able to make the shift online so effectively?
Well, Saudi Electronic University was born and established 10 years ago as an electronic university. It has adopted e-learning strategies, methodologies, and technologies from the very beginning with a mission to provide flexible and quality education to all segments of the society, and also to scale education beyond time and geographical barriers. So therefore, both SEU's resources and mindset were positioned from the very beginning towards moving learning to the digital age, which has resulted into an overall high digital readiness prior to the pandemic. And what I mean by digital readiness of SEU is not only limited to the availability of digital infrastructure and technology, but also it included the technical skills of the faculty member, their familiarity with e-learning strategies, and their attitude also towards engaging students in the virtual classes. It also included the readiness of the students to learn through digital technology, their attitudes towards self-learning and learning in virtual classes, and the digital readiness of students' homes in terms of internet connection, as well as the availability of digital courses and content. So therefore, the sudden and the temporary cessation of face-to-face activity during COVID-19 has not been a huge disruptor as to SEU educational process. In fact, during the pandemic, we have witnessed an increase in the demand of SEU programs and services and an overall trust in the resilience and the reliability of e-learning model.
It sounds like Saudi Electronic University was laying the groundwork for a decade then. Both faculty and students were both ready, and the shift was fairly easy then.
Very smooth. Yes, it went very, very smooth. Absolutely.
So what do you think some of the challenges for online education in the Middle East will be going forward?
I think the challenges for online education in the Middle East are pretty much the same and shared with the rest of the world. So among these, I think among the important challenges, there are challenges around the technology itself, whether the current technology is capable to imitate the interaction in the physical classroom, whether the capacity to handle concurrent online learning at scale is sufficient. However, in my opinion, these are not an issues to be worried of because the fast advancement in technology will soon address all those issues. The issues that are currently, I expect also shared around the world is the student technology access issue, the digital skills divide, the availability of technology in every single home around the kingdom and around the world, the internet access in the second tier and third tier cities. So I think overall the technology access issue is a challenge around a global challenge. There are also challenges around student preparedness to online learning, whether students are exposed enough to technology, whether they have strong time management and self-directed learning skills. So these are among the student, whether they're prepared or not. The same goes to teachers. Do teachers have enough technical skills? What is their attitude towards using technology? What are their ability to engage students online? But again, I would like to worth mentioning here and saying that this is an issue. The student engagement is an issue that is shared in both the physical and online classrooms. And whenever we talk about e-services in general, which e-learning is part of it and e-education is part of it, there's always an issue around data sovereignty, data privacy, cybersecurity. And in my opinion, these need to be carefully regulated to promote innovation and the best use of technology in education, and at the same time, ensure safety and security of users. Mindset is definitely a challenge. when people start looking at online learning as an emergency solution rather than an alternative learning delivery mode. And I also think there is one issue going forward that is shared across all the sectors and not only the education sector, which is maintaining the digital transformation that has already happened during COVID-19. Our fear right now is that the society, which includes the teachers and the families, will revert back to the old normal. So I think these are issues and challenges that are shared globally. One challenge that could be unique, and I think we will see it very soon in the MENA region, is around the availability of educational technology providers. So MENA is experiencing a fast growth in e-learning. It is estimated as 10.5% CAGR since 2018. So in my opinion, against this growth in the MENA region, we will face a challenge around the current local supply of EdTech provider. However, this challenge can be looked at as an opportunity in the region.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like an opportunity there. And
it's an opportunity, yes.
And you mentioned this, and I wanted to kind of circle back to it. How much of the shift to online learning do you think will be permanent? And of the lessons that we've learned, how can we make this scalable and accessible?
So the digital transformation that occurred in the society during the pandemic and in the education as well forced a widespread experimentation around new ideas in education and teaching and learning practices, including remote learning, including remote proctoring, recording classes to be watched by the students on their own pace and place, monitoring attendance, adaptive and personalized learning, and many really innovative ideas that were implemented during the pandemic. And at the same time, all of these has resulted into a number of gains and wins, such as we've witnessed an increase in operation efficiency, we've seen flexibility of learning, the ability to teach at scale, and also it revealed some of the weaknesses of the existing physical one-size-fits-all classroom. So I think we are currently at an inflection point, if I would say, forcing us to rethink of the existing education business model. Hence, in my opinion, education will never look back after the pandemic. The online learning will be permanent for certain segment of students, for certain programs and certain courses. So to be specific, I think it will be permanent among students who need learning flexibility, such as older students with work and family obligations, those who are in geographical areas who do not have access to learning, those who have employment and business responsibilities, and those also with physical disabilities that requires personalized learning. In addition, I think it will also be permanent for big introductory courses, which does not require active hands-on engagement of students and interaction between students, which I personally refer to as the commoditized courses. Those commoditized courses can best be delivered online at learner convenience, at scale, and at a much lower cost. Last but not least, I also think it will be permanent for well-prepared students and teachers. Teachers who are equipped with online specific teaching strategies and interaction method, in my opinion, will continue to use online learning, as well as students who are exposed to technology and who have very strong time management and self-directed learning skills.
That's where I wanted to take this next too. Do we think that the shift to online learning permanently has impacted students' expectations as well?
Again, this is a personal opinion, but I think that a lot of the resistance to online learning and teaching that was expressed before the pandemic was due to unfamiliarity rather than real limitations and shortfalls. So with the rise of the digital behavior during the pandemic, both students and faculty member attitudes towards online learning had significantly improved in the past year. Studies shows that the majority of students feel more positive about online learning now than before the pandemic. So overall, we're seeing that the new generation of learners are currently judging, especially universities, not based on their buildings and campuses and brands, but rather by their flexibility of learning, the quality of their program, their international and local collaboration, as well as personalized learning experience. So among SEU students' expectations post-pandemic, I can see that the students are expecting to see a greater use of technology in education, especially mobile learning. I can see that they're asking for access to coursework from anywhere at any time. They're expecting saving time from commute back and forth to classes on a campus. They're demanding adaptive and personalized learning to learn at their own pace. We can see also they're expecting asynchronous learning and discussion with classmates and faculties beyond the classroom. Also, I can see a lot of expectations around internationalization of education. And last but not least, I can also see a huge or a shift in the programs. We can see that there's a demand for a wide selection of quality programs that are designed to help them climb up the ladder of employment success. So this is what I personally have been seeing as some of the shifts in the students' expectations after the pandemic.
Professor, what are some of the lessons learned during the pandemic?
Well, I think the most sobering lesson of the pandemic is to be dynamically prepared for uncertainty and the importance of data as key to preparing for uncertainty. I think a second lesson, which is that online learning is more than moving physical classrooms to virtual environment. It is a transformational thinking about learning from being a time-based, teacher-centric, one-size-fits-all learning into a mastery-based, student-centric learning through flexible, collaborative, and personalized learning. A third lesson is that some aspects of learning loss do exist in the physical classroom. So the existing and the current physical classrooms and physical learning was over-idealized prior to the pandemic. So we need to go back to the drawing board to redesign education, redefine the mission of universities in specific, and the overall philosophy of education. Among the lessons learned, I think it's around the digital transformation in the educational sector. It was very clear that the educational sector lags behind other sectors when it comes to digital transformation. Hence, personally, I think that the education, and in specific, the higher education, will be greatly disrupted by technology over the next 5 years. And last but not least, I think among the lessons learned is that adopting a fully featured enterprise-wide digital transformation strategy is no longer an option for higher education institutes. It is becoming significant to maintain quality and resilience of education, as well as financial sustainability of higher education institutes.
Professor Al-Safadi, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your BbWorld.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.